Good afternoon. It was good to get back on the field today. I thought we had a pretty intense practice. Definitely a long way to go before we get to the game, but I like some of the things I saw today. We've got to go back and correct a few things and come out tomorrow and get better. And with that, I'll take your questions.
Steve, are these illnesses at all related to Henry Anderson's illness and situation?
No, it's all separate. Nothing to do with Henry whatsoever, no.
Are they COVID related?
No COVID. Guys had COVID tests, just like anything else. We wanted to make sure that we just kept them out of the building because we didn't want anything to spread. So, but no, all the COVID test was negative.
With Luvu in the shoulder, keeping him limited, is that kind of a injury management thing with him to keep him as active and getting him ready as he can?
Yes, you really got to help Frankie help himself. He's just a guy that goes, the same speed and very physical. So, yeah, definitely we want to make sure that we just sort of monitor him throughout the week with his reps, contact, and then get him ready for Sunday.
Is that similar to the other guys that work like Laviska and Dante?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Steve, what do you see from Marcus Mariota, and especially how they utilize him in the run game and their run game overall?
Well, Coach Smith had him in Tennessee. You can see the chemistry that they have with one another. They work well. I think he does a great job in running that offense. He can still beat you with his feet. He's very accurate when he throws the ball over the top. They're about running the ball first and trying to set up the play action. So he's very impressive.
Do you see a lot of similarities in what Atlanta tries to do and what you've tried to institute?
In regards to,
Offense.
well, I think it's all separate. I really haven't really viewed them in a form of comparison. I think, the personnel is different, and then also just whatever my mindset is in regards to what I feel like we need to do each and every week, but I haven't seen it in any form of trying to compare.
How did Baker look today? Did he roll with the twos?
Baker looked good today. He rolled with the twos. He did a lot of scout team work, and then PJ took all the reps with the ones.
How about Sam?
Sam is progressing. He's doing well. He was on the scout team as well. Those guys did a good job in the individual period, but Baker took the most of the scout team reps, and then PJ took all the ones.
Does he look like he could be available for Sunday night?
Which one?
Baker.
Yes. Sam is still on his progression of his 21 days, and definitely Baker should be available on Sunday.
How did JC look, and will he be available? I know you said Monday that he just needed an extra week, but is that how you see it now?
Well, he looked good today, and even last week I thought he was progressing, but for whatever reason, he didn't feel like he could go. So hopefully we can get over the hump this week.
You mentioned Baker as the backup. Did you talk to him about being the backup, and what was that conversation like just in terms of a guy who had been starter?
I'm not going to go into details on really the conversation. Each and every week I meet with all three of those guys, as well as Ben and then the quarterback coach, Sean. So we're all in the room together. I don't try to talk to each other separate because I want to make sure we have great communication and clarity on what I'm saying to the group. So he understood exactly where we were going this week and knows his role, and he was fine with that.
Coach, how different your defensive scheme looks without Horn and Jeremy Chin? Do you play more cover two, or do you move more pieces?
No, we don't try to alter in regards to what we do because I still feel we have the personnel when those guys step in the game that we can still execute our calls. When you start talking about different calls, whether it's cover two or anything in regards to that, I think it's all based off the scheme and the personnel that we're playing, and also situational. So.
You brought up Tay Hayes from the practice squad. He was a guy who performed pretty well in the preseason, but got some playing time the last couple of weeks. What have you seen from him? Also, being his former position coach, what stands out to you about him?
Well, first of all, he's an App State grad. That in itself is enough. But no, Tay does a great job. We always talk about our weapons: eyes, hands, hips, and feet. And he has great eyes, particularly when in the zone concepts. You saw that for the pick six that he got back in the preseason. So, very physical guy, comes up and supports on the run. But he's definitely progressed and built a lot of confidence in his teammates, in him, and a lot of trust with me.
He's a guy who's had to work his way back into the league, and he's kind of been a USFL success story. What do you think, just seeing him kind of progress, how does that help somebody maybe getting the spring league reps, and they're coming into the league having that playing time, I guess, earlier in the year?
Well, I think it's just all about trying to get, the most out of your opportunities, and I think he's done that. And there's a lot of guys out there that is working their way back and just looking for that break and that opportunity. I think he's taking the advantage of his.
Can you say what Henry's situation is?
It's personal. No.
Steve, what did you see from PJ on Sunday in terms of decision making, avoiding the turnovers, and do you think that kind of drove home to him what he can be if he is able to play kind of mistake-free or close to mistake-free?
Well, that's always the key. I mean, it's all about protecting the football, right? And in defense, we talk about trying to take the ball away. I thought he made great decisions in the game. It's the same thing that I've been trying to tell him. Hey, just take what the defense is giving you, and eventually we'll be able to take what we want. So we can't force the ball down the field. And that's the thing with a lot of offenses, in my opinion, is that they really don't have the patience. Everything is about, let me score right now, the excitement of the game. But we want to make sure that we're pushing the ball down the field, but we're also going through our progression of reads and, putting the ball where it needs to go.
Steve, with Chuba's injury, do you see that as a potential for maybe Raheem to get more carries heading into next week, or is it more of a Foreman stepping up? What do you see?
As we did last week, I think it's still going to be by committee. How that sort of, proportions out, I don't know right now. Hoping that Chuba can go. I know, he was out today, but hopefully he can be able to progress and get better this week because we need him.
When you talked about getting the team ready for a string of division games and even going back to showing them division games of the past, what were those games that were important for you to show this team?
I think, really all of them. And as we sit here and we play different opponents within our division, I think you go back and you tap into the past and the success we had, the competition, the rival. And then you also build up to where we are right now and showing these guys their success that they've had in the past. So this division has always been a tough division. It's going to be a very hard-fought, tough game on Saturday. Those guys are going to come prepared and ready to play. And we've been talking about being physical because it's going to be that kind of game.
I'm curious if there is an example that you're willing to share as far as what jumped out on the tape that you really wanted to communicate to them.
Well, I would say this is that in the past, they're not going to back down, and we're not going to back down. So just really trying to hone in, this is going to be a very physical, hard-fought football game.
Steve, speaking of patience, can you talk about the sort of weaponry that you have with Johnny Hecker and how you used him well, and sort of how he's playing this year?
I think he's playing well. Johnny has a lot of respect within this league. He's done a lot of good things in regards to. I remember going against him and faking the ball against us, and great arm, can do different things. Him and JJ, they work so well together. So he's definitely been a major plus for this team and this organization. Man, you guys are great today.
To follow up on something I asked you on Monday, you said back in the Rams game that you wanted to plant that seed to run the football.
Uh-huh.
Why did you feel like that was necessary, and what was your thinking going into doing that?
Is identity. It's what we want to be known for. The physicality and effort starts up front on both sides of the ball. As I stated before, there's nothing more demoralizing to a defense than having to run the ball. I don't really care what quarterback in this league. You're not going to stop these guys. They're going to be able to get their yardage in the pass game. But you have to make them one-dimensional. And if they can run the ball and pass the ball, it's going to be a long day. And that's the mindset that I wanted to create up front, just blue-collar, hard-working, pushing the pile, and I thought we did that. And even though the scoreboard wasn't what we wanted, I told the coaches as well as the players, what we did in that game is going to help us win games down the road.
And how are you better prepared to stop the run on the other side? 'Cause I guess it's the same philosophy there. Better now than you were week 1 and 2.
I think it's just, the intensity and how we practice. I tell the guys all the time, you're going to, the way how you play is the same way how you practice. So we create that intensity each and every week, particularly on Wednesday. Detailing our work. I think as you get later on in the season, I think we're at week 8 right now, everybody starts thinking about so much scheme. Got to scheme and reps. I cut back a little bit today. It's all about the fundamentals and technique.
Can you see more of that on the offensive side this year around the league? Because it seems like quarterback play in general has been a little down.
Well, I don't want to, really comment on that. You can see across the board the scores aren't really what they've normally been in the past. So I can't really pinpoint why that is.
What was the impact you saw from Bradley Bozeman, specifically after his start Sunday?
Well, just again, the physicality that he played with on Sunday. They had a dynamic play on that side of the ball, and I thought we did a great job of really controlling him for the most part of the game. Bozeman is a guy that communicates well, IDs the mic, let everybody else understand and know exactly what we're doing in protection. So I love his leadership.
Do you think Elfline will be back later? It's not a season-ending situation.
Right now, I think he's going to pretty much have surgery, and then it will be a season ending. Yes.
Steve, the past is the past. The last 3 weeks for this team is well documented, obviously, with the changes and the trade.
Mm-hmm.
What has changed in that room in terms of, I guess, attitude, maybe it's sense of family? I mean, what has changed with these guys that this, even after 1 week, the win over Tampa, that it feels different?
I think it's complete and total buy-in. We start talking about really the act of a champion. That's what I challenge those guys, act like a champion. And that's accountability, commitment, and trust. And you could see it in our performance, in our practice. I think these guys are trusting one another. They enjoy playing with each other. They're having fun. And, again, it was great for them to be able to see the fruits of their labor. But, again, last week is last week. We got a tough task this week and a divisional opponent. And we got to continue to progress and get ready to go play. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.